Hey Trap Tribe, it's me, Ashley of Trap Pray Love, and it's a tough time to be a woman right now. I mean, not only was I not surprised that Roe v. Wade was overturned, I was not surprised how white women handled it on the internet. For those of you that don't know, A Handmaid's Tale is a Hulu original show that is based on the 1985 book by Margaret Atwood. The novel is based in a weird version of dystopian America where women have no rights and are tortured, beaten, and bred like animals to preserve the population. So shortly after Roe v. Wade was overturned, women took to the internet and posted a lot about the horrors that are going on in America and compared them to the fictional horrors of the book and said, this is going to happen to us. We're next, and made a lot of jokes about Gilead and all of that shit. Ironic. Yes, the irony. My issue with this shit is that really happened. The shit in that book really happened. No, not to white women, but to black women during slavery. It's not some parallel universe. That shit happened in America, legally in America. And now that it's close to home, now everyone's scared. Close to home being close to y'all. So this weekend, as I try to escape the hellscape that is now America, I decided to perform my femininity in one of the best ways that society asked me to. I decided to watch a rom-com. Now, the last romance series that I got involved with involved the rich X-Men that were all, for some reason, obsessed with the most plain woman in the world. And she ended up starting a race war and had the baby with the face of Microsoft Paint. I am not a huge rom-com fan, but I went on Netflix and saw a movie. Persuasion was like #1 on Netflix, and I said, okay, feeling like a girl, let me give it a try. Now, in my opinion, Persuasion wasn't a horrible film. However, as I was watching Persuasion, I started feeling funny. And that funny feeling started making me feel uncomfortable. For all the other black people that watched this, if you ain't gonna say it, I'm gonna say it. Now, I want to be fair. There are a couple of elements that I did really enjoy about this movie. I did like the idea of second chances and reconciliation, and the set design, the costumes, everything did really feel like it was in place. However, there was one thing that did not seem like it was in place, and that was the black and brown people that were just kind of plopped in there. Now, I would like to argue that art like this is not representation. It's actually erasing Black history. Like Bridgerton, Hamilton, and a lot of other works that I'm sure are out there, Persuasion casts people of color to play large roles regardless of their race. This is known as colorblind casting. When casting directors practice colorblind casting, they require actors to inhibit qualities and customs of characters of backgrounds that are different from their own. Many viewers would argue that this is representation, but I would like to argue that it's not. Is this representation? It is representing something. I mean, we get to visually see black and brown people on the screen, yes, but there's something else that's going on here. Bridgerton, Hamilton, Persuasion, other things like this, these are white stories written for white people. I would like to argue that it's not really representing black stories. It's black people telling white stories. There's a difference. When asked if colorblind casting of Bridgerton was progress, screenwriter Misan Sage stated, "It doesn't quite sit right with me because the other side of it says we don't have a history. So you have to shoehorn us into places when in fact we were here. We have been here. I'm all for actors getting to do it whatever they want, but black people are interesting and we are enough. We don't need to be in anyone else's stories." In American movies and television, it's almost as though strong black people didn't exist until the 1960s. It's sending the message that the only story that can be told of our history is one of minstrelsism and pickaninnies, or simply that we have no history at all. So, adapt this white character story. Films such as the 2021 Western The Harder They Fall tells not only a story of the West, but the West as it historically was. It's a black story, not a rendition of a white one. This, by the way, was my first time seeing a black cowboy besides this. Many viewers don't understand that there's a difference between visibility and blindness. Yes, black people should be on the movie screen, on the TV screen, in recording booths, but they should be telling their own stories, our own stories, to be considered representation, just not acting out whiteness. This is the difference between Miles Morales having his own Spider-Man story without just being implanted into Peter Parker's Spider-Man story. And this is why I feel like it worked so well. It told a new story without losing the coolness and crazy story of becoming a superhero. The uneasiness that I felt when I watched Bridgerton and when I saw Hamilton, and by the way, I am a huge Hamilton fan, the uneasiness was because these characters were written with the white purview, and it feels like black characters are just plopped into these stories because these stories and these characters are written about white people and written with white people's customs, like these are their stories. And I would like to argue that not only do black people have a history, but we have done period pieces with all parts of time with strong characters, and it's been done well. So I would just like to challenge people when they're viewing these things to just keep it in mind, like it's not representation.